Hello, everyone, and welcome to League Review. I'm your host, William, and today we're talking about LPL Week 7. We had a very good week. Sorry, we're late, by the way. Teamfight tags. We'll probably talk about it later. Gold 4 now. Woo! I was raging a little bit. But we went 9 and 3, 18 and 36 game predicted. Had a really rough time predicting actual game wise, but outside of a really shaky day 2, and then an insane last game of the week. That might be the series of the entire year so far. It was absolutely amazing. But yeah, we will get right into it as well. LPL, we'll check because I should have checked before the podcast, but hopefully we can get the match histories. If we can't, we might just go over power rankings briefly and then everything else. Let's see. Okay, we can get the match histories on Google. At least some of them so far. So that is good. That's good news. Okay, so this isn't the first game. The first game was Victory 5 versus Rogue Warriors. First game that Rogue Warriors actually came and flat out beat Victory 5 in the very first match of the series, or game of the series, and it was 11 towers to 3 inhibitors to none, 1 Baron, 2 dragons. Windy had a very rough Kennen game at 0-5, and he really did not do much. Holder was just constantly split pushing on the Camille. Though Holder did make quite a few. You got overextended quite a few times and getting caught out, but luckily for him, Zawuji on Ezreal just you had Corki and Ezreal late game with Silas as well. You just had so much damage outside of the Camille that the Camille was easily able to split push, and someone had the back. And without the Corki, really Victory 5 team is not all that great for a team fight. You have Syndra, an immobile mage. Caitlyn, a pretty immobile ADC. She's got her net, but that's it. You got Lux, another immobile mage, and you have Rek'Sai, who in team fights doesn't do a whole lot. So this was a very bad setup, very bad draft essentially by Victory 5. It allowed Camille to pull the Kennen out, who was pretty much supposed to be Victory 5's engage. Like they don't have like really any engage outside of maybe a Lux landing a binding or Syndra landing a stun. Like those are long range engages, but there's not too much like flank or like 100% guarantee you're going to land this engage on them right now. They don't have any of that, so Ezreal's able to free poke for days in the back line. Same with Corki with his Q, and then Corki can just blow up any of them the second Silas jumps in on people, and then they just would die instantly. So I don't think this was a very good draft personally by Victory 5 in this game, but I thought that Holder played okay enough on the split push. Like again, he did get caught out like 3 or 4 times on the bot side of the map. So hopefully he can improve that for later on for Rogue Warriors to try and win some more games. But this one, it worked out enough for them. Next we had Victory 5 taking the win over Rogue Warriors, and this was a 12-1. This game absolute blowout. Rogue Warriors only 1 kill, 2 towers, just all in the right places. Mole on the Talia, just popping off. I thought the Talia pick was very strong. The Corki and they pretty much Rogue Warriors pretty much ran their team comp back, except they didn't have the Camille to split push, and Victor 5 had Jace, who's much better at handling the split push than the Kennen because he was AP Kennen, but yeah, it was just there was no split push, and this time Victory 5 kind of had the Talia that had the extra engage with the knockback, and just really it wasn't necessarily still a good team fighting comp necessarily. They just got ahead enough in every lane that they were able to just straight snowball with the amount of poke that a Jace, Caitlyn, Lux can provide, and then if anyone gets caught with the Lux binding, they're instantly getting knocked back by Talia, and then they're gonna die immediately. So it's kind of the Victor 5 snowballed off of it, even though they also ran a very similar comp. They ran 3 of the same champs as Rogue Warriors ran 4 of them. Game number 4, though, or 3, was all about Victory 5 yet again. They had 28 kills to 8. Rogue Warriors didn't get a single tower, 11 towers on that side. We had a Zed for Mole, which was just popping off. That was nice to see. We had Y4 on Ashe, which was also really good with 6-2 and 11. We had Oops, I cannot see Twitch chat right now, so if anyone has said anything, I apologize. Let me just move this over. Okay, but yes, I mean, it was just everyone was popping off. Ben Four, I believe, got the MVP with the 8-2 and 7 Aatrox performance. He was just all over the map early on in the game, and it was just super disgusting, like super disgusting. We also had Windy on Rise, just being a split pushing madman. Holder couldn't do anything about that with Renekton. You really don't. You want to get in the 1v1s on Renekton, but Rise was just able to kite and just scale quicker, and Rise scales much harder than Renekton does, for sure. And obviously, everyone 1-6. Haru just had it was basically Haru got destroyed to Ben 4 pretty much in the jungle, and Zinzao does not scale well whatsoever. Um, Next, we had Vici Gaming versus Invictus. And Vici Gaming did what Vici Gaming does, and they actually. Well, no, first game, Invictus destroyed them. It was 25-14. I can't say destroyed them, but I mean, you knew Invictus was always going to win this game. The Vici Gaming had that very spicy Pantheon bot lane, and for the most part, this game started out all in Invictus Gaming's favor. It was like multiple kills. Like I believe it was 7 kills. I really wish I had the graphs, but again, we don't get that for LPL, sadly. But without every website I've gone to, it's my antivirus. Like no, don't go there. But we had 25 kills to 14 kills, 10-3. Just it worked out well. I kind of like the Kalista Pantheon. It's kind of a little bit of a cheesy game. It just eventually Invictus Gaming just outplayed them. It was like a Fiesta type game, and Invictus Gaming loves Fiesta type games. Jay though did have a solo kill on Rookie. His one kill was a solo kill on Rookie. Game number 2 was all Vici Gaming. 21 kills to 4. 10 towers to 0. 2 inhibitors to 0. 1 Baron to 0. 3 dragons to 0. You don't see that very often on IG side. Especially, you don't see this very often on Vici Gaming side either. This is quite not what anyone was expecting. This was a for fun game for Ning, I felt like. Ning had a lot of moments in this game where you're just like, maybe your teammates need to do a little bit of a question mark ping. But Jay's Talia was disgusting in this game. He wasn't bad in the first game, even though he was 1-5-9. His Talia wasn't too bad in that one as well. But he went 9-0-6 in this game and absolutely popped off. He was just dominating Rookie. Also, Ning dying in the mid lane after saving Rookie just by stepping up a little too far, even though he's at like 2 HP, decided to try and go back in, or he took a second to like think about going back in, and that second was all Jay needed to get just enough to hit him with the Q from Talia. But yeah, this was all Vici Gaming, which is something you do not expect to ever say, especially against a team like IG. Game number 3 though, IG. This game was actually pretty close. It was 10-20, but it was 5 towers for Vici, which wasn't that bad. Like you kind of always knew IG was gonna win just because Aches on Lisa, and he just that was that was a game of having to deal with just getting destroyed in the jungle. Like Nig was all over him on the Gragas. He was 4-2-11. Rookie's LeBlanc there's a reason he has a skin for that. There's a reason his name is in the game off that champion. And Jackie loves Zaya also, and Balan on Rakan. Like Rakan also is a skin. Just absolutely super good game by IG, and they took it serious after that second game fiasco. Next, we have the game that the day I should say that I unfortunately did not do very well in. This was all game number 1 was Billy. This game was very close, back and forth. Not really. It was, I say it was back and forth. It wasn't. This was mostly all JDG. This was a huge throw by them to eventually. It was 7 towers to 12, or 7 towers to 9, 12 kills to 7, 1-1. 1-1, 4-3. So very close in all stats. But like this was pretty much all JDG's game, except for Billy as the team just was able to make two or three amazing team fights back to back, while Zoom wasn't able to get anything done on Aatrox. Flawless was always out of position on the Karthus. Like he wasn't. If he died, he wasn't in the correct spot, and the Volibear, it doesn't scale very well whatsoever. If you can't get to the people, you just feel very sad and you get kited away by an Ezreal and an Azir for sure. It's just too much kite. And the Gnar was quite amazing as well. To the ADD's Gnar, I believe, picked off Yagao and won a very crucial team fight as well for Billy to win. Unfortunately for Billy, that was the only thing that went really going for them. They picked up the Karthus this game and also had the Gnar, but Yagao picked up that Azir instead, and they took the Sylas as well, and they just did work with it. This game with Zoom, was this game? Okay, yeah, it was this game. Damn Zoom, had a grudge against ADD. He flash parlayed, cued Gnar in point blank in the head three different times during this game. It was just hilarious. It happened. Two of them were basically Flash comes off, he did it, then Flash comes off cooldown and he did it again. And then the third time was later in the game, and I'm just like, man, this guy has it out for him. He is not allowing ADD to escape whatsoever any of these situations. Which is good because he was able to scale. That was only 3 of his 4 kills. He only got one other kill outside of that, but that's all he needed to be able to scale up and just do late game Azir, Kai'Sa, and Gangplank. Yes, please. That's gonna get you a win almost every game. Game number 3 as well. ADD decided that being parlayed in the face, or point blank in the face, was super annoying, so he's going to do it instead. Unfortunately for him, Flawless, this was a weird game. They won with the Fiddlesticks. I hate when people win with Fiddlesticks because I hate that champion as a support. I think it's a terrible, terrible thing to do. But it worked this game. It did. You had the circle from Flawless whenever he died, and then you had the Fiddlesticks ult, and then you had Yagao on Varus mid, who they made that work like crazy. I believe it was once he hit level 6, he flash ulted on Kuro, and just that amount of time allowed Flawless to get down 2 Skittles on the gank, and it was just an instant pop because it was that plus the Varus Q and Flawless, obviously the Skittles, and just instantly killed Kuro. So, unfortunately for Billy, JDG took their playoff spot last split and were able to beat them in this game as well. Next, we had Team WE versus Sino Dragon. I don't know if you're here, Idol, but this is the game where I said that I needed to stop picking, not Sino, it says Sino Dragon, but it's Dominius Gaming. But Google hasn't updated. Dominius Gaming, unfortunately, was like, I was just like, oh, I picked the Minions to win 2 series here. I believe in them still, and Yadal's like, you need rehab, basically. Like, I should not be. I need to get away from this team desperately. Game 1, though, they won. Barely, but they won. This was a massive throw by Team WE. But I did like what Scion Dragon did. They went back to basics for their team. Outside, they didn't have Yuumi last split, but Gala, one of Gala's best champions last split was Kai'Sa. It was Kai'Sa, and I like this Kai'Sa, his Sivir, and his Varus, all team fighting champs, like our ADCs, because Dominius is a very, very, very good team fighting team. Well, they were a very, very good team fighting team in Spring Split. They've kind of struggled a bit on it this split, but they put Twyla back on Lulu. Lulu in Cassiopeia are some of his go-to champs. He's just very good at the utility mid laner or the carry mid laner in Cassiopeia. But the Lulu is definitely one of his like unique ones that you don't see too often. Zhao Peng on his Olaf is also very strong. It is one of the core pieces of Dominus's how they win is they stabilize their early game with Olaf because they're not very good in lane. They stabilize it with the early game Olaf. It allows them to bridge the gap into team fighting, and then once they get to team fight, they are all at a good enough position. They're really good at team fighting. They have better team fight champions that they just run it down mid like NA. They do it like that. And Cheng Hong, oh my god, he got his Sylas back. So excited to see that after we haven't seen it in a while. And Cheng Hong is an amazing Sylas or Scion. Silas was on was on Team WE, but this game basically came down to Chang Hong having two 3-man. I think one actually was a 4-man ult, like just initiating the team fight, getting Twyla up there as well to like ult him as well, so he would never die, or shoot, or Twyla would also ult Zhao Peng on the Olaf to make sure, and Olaf with like the healing on top of being like immune to CC, which is running people down. It was so strong, as well as Yumi also healing everyone as well. So it was just such a good team fight. So much sustain on the side of Sino Dragon that once they just eventually picked up like they had to pick up like 2 or 3 team fights in a row because that definitely was a throw. This game was all about Mystic and missing at the beginning of the game as well as Beishang on the Silas. They had everything. Kiana as well for what you call it. Jai, I can't even say his name right now. I lost it. But Pose as well. I mean, they all did really well early. They just lost multiple team fights in a row, and unfortunately, that was their downfall. Next, Team WE won game number 2. Team WE, there was 24 kills to 8, and 9 towers to 2. Team WE they didn't let the throw get to him this time. They took the Scion away. Chang Hong had the Vlad. It's a good team fighting champ. Unfortunately, I don't think Chang Hong's Vlad is necessarily that good. Zhao Peng's Jarvan is usually okay, but not this game at 0-7. Never liked Twyla's Azir, 0-5 for a reason there against the Kiana. And then Gala and Mark had a pretty good game, I thought. They had a Zyrokan went 5-2, 1-5, but unfortunately the jungle mid lane synergy of Beishang, Team WE took the Scion, the Kaisa, the Olaf. They took 60% of the team from Dominius Gaming, so unfortunately that did not happen. The game did not go in their favor. And as well as the next time they also lost to the Scion Silas and then the Callista Alistair. The Alistair was just missing. Alistair was disgusting. I don't know how he never died, but he was just all over the place, and he was always there to just headbutt people into the worst positions. He was always behind somehow Alistair just always got behind people. Just because of excellent vision play by him as well. It was a fantastic performance. Yumi usually does struggle with vision play a little bit. You don't see nearly as much struggle, I guess, in the pros, but I noticed in solo queue that Yumis tend to ward a lot less because they're with their ADC and they're usually always stuck in lane because they're just sitting on them. But I think that could have been a factor because Yumi doesn't roam ever by herself. She has to roam with her ADC. But missing Alistair especially just absolutely roams all over the place with Moby Boots. He runs wherever he wants, and he gets deep vision down, and that allowed them to set up a lot of flanks and a lot of picks with him in Scion. And Dominius Gaming lost again. So I said they're dead to me. They're pretty much dead to me, but they did do one thing. They did make the bigger upset. Later on in the week. But next we had Edward Gaming versus Victory 5. Edward Gaming just completely stomped them. Pretty much both games. Like, not too much to talk about. Just clean, very clean performance by Edward Gaming. I was very surprised, and I was glad to see it back finally. You had GG go 10-1-9 in game 2, 3-0-8 in game 1 was mostly iBoy and Mako just destroying the bot lane. And Windy getting destroyed in the mid lane as well. Just everything went wrong. Scout popped off as well. And again, like they all they all did a lot of good work. 24-8. Like there's only 2 towers taken for Victory 5 all series. This isn't Snake anymore. This is LNG. But LNG versus OMG. This is also Wednesday was a very big blowout. There was just 2 or 4 very quick games. LNG just stomped OMG, and just SOFM on the Silas just 9-1-6, 3-1-7 for Plex. I thought Plex has been amazing for leaning, by the way. You still have Flandre doing great up there. SOFM has also been dominating, and Azora has also been doing pretty decent as well. But like Plex has filled the gap, I think, that they had in previous splits with mid lane, and they're actually not bad out. Like I thought they were gonna fall down, and I think I picked them to win this, but I thought they looked really good against OMG, which I mean it is OMG, but I think that since they're 6-3 now, we only have how many weeks left? 3 weeks left of LPL. I think LNG might be sitting in a playoff spot coming up. We got what? You play 15 games. We have 6 games left. So let's just say 6 games left. They're only 2 games out, so nothing for sure yet. But even VG can still make it with 6 games left as long as they go on a 7-game win streak. But no, I think that 3. I'm just looking here, but no, we're looking like we're about to start eliminating quite a few teams coming up in the next few weeks. Probably the next 2 weeks will eliminate almost half the teams, or half the teams like coming out. Like also like we'll eliminate four of the 8 teams that technically missed playoffs. Will probably already be eliminated by next week or 2 weeks from now. Next on Friday we had Top versus LGD. LGD played them very tough both games. It was 11 towers to 7. LGD was back and forth honestly with Top here in this game. You had Mordekaiser doing work actually and not getting kited away from the Nico. We saw Knight on Xerath. Like, who plays Xerath? But it made it work. It's a pretty decent counter into Azir just because you poke out his poke kind of thing. You're never really in range to be. You can play safe enough to stop the Azir at all costs. And it also is a pretty good poke or kite. Yeah, you can poke and kite away from Mordekaiser as well. And Loken also on the Sivir kind of dominated as well. The top esports as well, just in the game, just a very, very good team. I think I dropped in my power rankings, but that was just unfortunate for them just due to strength of schedule situation. But we'll see how it moves on later on. But yes, game number 2, Kramer just tried his hardest on the Kai'Sa. He did not win, but he went 5-1-2. He went down trying. All of them again, just very good games. 8-1, 8-1 in towers, 1 in hib, 1 Baron, 2 dragons, but it was only 6k gold lead, 7k. Yeah, it's like a 9k. I can't do math quickly, but yeah, good game plan. Knight on the Nico, his score didn't look that well, but he really was setting up a lot of plays as well. I felt like so he was still playing really well. Next, we had OMG versus Vici Gaming. OMG. Or Vici. I picked this. I was brave enough to pick Vici Gaming, and it worked out. Unfortunately, I picked them to win 2-1, but they finally won their very first series of the entire split today, or Friday. It was a 13-2 or 13-6 victory. It was 11 towers to 1. They stomped OMG, which is a very bad look for OMG. When you're getting, I mean, granted, Vici Gaming played IG pretty hard and then actually stomped IG in a game, but Jay had a phenomenal week. He went 5-1-6 in this game. He went 1-5-11 in the second game. But he had three to four very good games out of 5 this week, and Puff picked them up in game number 2. They still had Vlad at 6-1-9. They still had Puff at 11-1-9. They had the Yumi just popping off. So you didn't need him. He could take a back seat, and that's what they did. They basically won this game. It was a 15k gold lead. They had it all the whole game. You had the Zoe doing some work, obviously, with Jay dying a lot. But outside of that, the rest of the team was doing absolutely nothing. Lucian did nothing in the early game, especially against Sivir Yumi. You're just going to get outskilled like crazy there. And Vici Gaming finally won their very first series of the entire split. Good job, Vici. I still think this team is so close to being at least somewhat decent. But they always let me down. Like half their series, they go to game 3s, and then they just lose the game 3 every single time. Look at that. They got 6 wins. They got more wins than Rogue Warriors, but then they're tied with OMG and Dominion. So they're like a win away from being the 12th place team when everyone just assumes they are the worst team in the LPL. Usually every split, they are like the Jenner of the LPL. But I feel like Vici plays better than Jenner does. So personally, I really do. They play teams much closer than Jenner does. Next on Saturday, Sunning versus Rogue Warriors. Sunning just pretty much stomped both games, as you can tell. There's a lot of stomps this not at the beginning of the week. Beginning of the week was actually a lot of close games, but unfortunately, like in the middle of the week here, just stomp after stomp after stomp. With Sunning just taking down Rogue Warriors 11-4, 11 towers to 1, 3 inhibs 0, 1 Baron none, and then just as you can tell, Angel with 3-0-3, just very clean. There was a lot of very clean macro in this game by Sunning, which I was very appreciative, and it made me actually think that this Sunning team, even though they're not playing. They're just not. They don't have. Shoot, what the heck? I can't think of his name. Oh, but they don't have. They don't have their top laner. I cannot think of his name. He's on RNG. Langex or is it Lingnex? Langex. I got it right here. God damn it. Langex. Ling Zhao, I think that's how you actually say it, or something like that. I don't know. I'm fumbling. Oh well, I'm tired. It's almost midnight. I'm starting this podcast way too late, but that's my own fault. Anyway, Sunning they played Angel in the top lane, or yeah, Angel in the top lane. Top lane Twisted Fate actually worked one time. I still do not like it. Not a fan of it, but it worked. And it 4-0-7. Wei went 6-4-5, and Wei played both games instead of Hacker. Interesting. Okay, but yes, Maple 2-1-7, 2-2-9, 0-8 for Sword Art. And unfortunately, the Yasuo did not hit his 10 death power spike in game number 2. So that was unfortunate for Now, this is a game I did want to talk about a little bit with the two games. In the sense that what happened to EDG is we saw EDG return to form, destroy V5 like 2 days ago, 3 days ago before this. Technically on our side, it's like 4 or 5 days ago. But then they come in against RNG, and RNG's like, excuse me, we are going to show you how a real team plays. They destroyed 16-5, 11-2, 4 dragons to 1, 2 barons. It says no inhibitors, but I feel like they have to get an inhibitor to win a game. I don't think EDG surrendered. That would have been pretty funny. But yeah, they absolutely destroyed 7-1-4. They just manhandled them this game completely. Next, we had game number 2, where it was a 10k gold lead, 20-7, 7 towers to 1, 1 inhib, 1 baron, 3 dragons, and then Uzi being Uzi. This was all Uzi this game with 11-1-8. I mean, like both. I mean, EDG got a total of 3 towers this whole series. Like I was expecting this to be a really good game with how EDG just destroyed V5, but it just wasn't. RNG showed that they are a step above them by far, like by a whole lot. And EDG also showed that they do not belong with the top 4 that we talked about last week. Where do they belong with the top 4 of Fun Plus Phoenix, IG, RNG, and top esports? They do not, according to that series against RNG at least. And then today we had the great upset of Dominious Gaming beating JDG. They took game 1, 10 kills to 2, 7 towers to 2. Just blowout. It was a very good game. The Pyke did nothing, and that's always nice to see. Gala did nothing as well, and 0-0-0. But you know, it was a slow game. It was very slow, and then Dominious Gaming just eventually won after that. We also had I didn't mention this. Beishong or Xiaoping and Cheng Hong benched, and instead you had Natural and Atong. Natural and Atong performed. Atong popped off on the Silas. They did lose the second game though, unfortunately, with the 1-4-0. But and they had the Jinx as well, just never got going. We have the Varus mid again. The Varus mid is looking like a really good counter to Azir, and this game they just got choked out by GG 12-4. This was not a very exciting series compared to the next one. This one was quite a snooze fest. Game number 3 though, at least Dominion's got a lot of kills there. In game number 3 is 23-7, 9 kills, 9 towers to 2, 1 Baron, 1 inhibitor, 2 dragons. And just pretty much, as you can tell, the Twilight, the Corki into Azir is always a go-to because you're just gonna outscale him quicker. Uh, Silas again. Silas for Atong in both games was very, very good. I believe, yeah, he went a combined 7-2 and 14. That's a very strong scoreline for your first ever games. And you have Natural as well coming in and played a pretty good Jax into the Mordekaiser. I was very impressed. I didn't think Jax was going to counter Mordekaiser as hard as it did, but then it kind of made sense why it did. I still like Darius into it a little bit more, but you're not going to see Darius in pro play. But Darius into it in solo queue is quite disgusting. Imp also had a terrible game on Kaisa. He went 1-5. Now, though, let's talk about what we really want to talk about, and that is the series of the year, known as IG versus Fun Plus Phoenix. Game number 1, Fun Plus Phoenix, 8K gold win, 15-11, back and forth, back and forth. I wish I had match histories for this, but I don't. But I could just show you the amount of kills just everywhere. How many kills did I say it was going to be? I said it was going to be 40, and Yadao said 30 plus a game. It was only 26. So I said there was going to be 120 kills this series. Am I right? So 15, 11. How much? I totally forgot about that until just now. 29. Oh man, that last game. Said there'd be 120. Yadao said, Idol said there were going to be 90. There was 98. 22-8. Yeah, we were close. I mean, Idol obviously wins. He's much closer. But if there is a little more in game number 1 here, one here is the one that let me down. But it was 98 kills throughout the whole series, though. It was a bloodbath. It was still a bloodbath. We had 9 towers to 4, 2 inhibs. This game was all IG until it wasn't. Like, Fun Plus Phoenix immediately flipped this game on its head. It felt like just like all of a sudden 2 straight team fights, they just win and just like push, and then all of a sudden they just won the game. This was actually, I thought IG with Rokan, Talia, and Jackalov, even the Shy as well. I thought the Shy, the ranked in, I thought that Gimgu's 0-3. I really thought that they weren't going to be able to scale up in time for their Caitlyn, Rise, and Gangplank, but they didn't need it. They just went and boom, boom, team fight, and then victory. It was really nice. It was a very good performance. Game number 2, though, IG did not let Fun Plus Phoenix do that. They pretty much went to 23-9, and this was the only game that was kind of not as fun to watch. I mean, there was a lot of kills still, obviously, with 23 on IG side, but it was 10 towers to 1. You knew IG was going to win this game the whole time. They almost won by 20k gold. Like, you had Gimgoon actually, when you're losing 23-9 and Gimgoon goes 5-2 on the Mordekaiser, he was getting the kills. It was mostly the bot lane, the 1-10 bot lane. Jackie Love ball in did not have many of the kills because Ning was the one kill stealing all of them, but he was also doing the gangsta. He was shutting down the Caitlyn Lux lane, which is a very aggressive lane that's always going to push up, and then every time I push up they just got killed every time because Ning was just hyper aggressive fighting there. And then finally in the next one, the final game, we had Invictus Gaming giving a Fun Plus Phoenix their very first loss of the series loss of the year. Weirdly enough, the same week that Vici Gaming won their very first series. Always seems to happen like that. But Fun Plus Phoenix, LWX, and Crisp went the Caitlyn Lux again, and again they died 10 times. It was just they took the Olaf away, but this time they gave Ning the Jarvan, and it just that bot lane did not work. And then obviously the Shy on the Vladimir was just a monster at 6-2-4. It just it was a close game. And not in the sense that it was close in every team fight, but unfortunately after every team fight it was close, but IG was always getting the lead. Like each one was like, IG wins a little bit more. They win a little bit more. They win a little bit more. And that's why, like, eventually Fun Plus Phoenix was like, every team fight felt like they were this close. But in reality, the game wasn't as close as the team fights made it out to be. And I think that goes mostly because Fun Plus Phoenix as a team is just so good that they made it look like they were closer than they actually were. It's a fantastic series. I highly recommend anyone going to watch it. Unfortunately, you know the winner now, but I would still recommend going to watch it just to see some fantastic team fights constantly. Back and forth. So the power rankings for this week are Fun Plus Phoenix is still my number 1 team just because they played really close against IG, and I didn't want to move. I didn't think like it was that negative of a loss for Fun Plus Phoenix. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but I still have them as my number one team in the league. I have RNG at number two because I've moved them up after that just insanely dominating performance by against EDG. I was like, it was not dominating by EDG, but yeah, by RNG, that they just absolutely destroyed EDG, and I thought that was amazing. IG is boosted all the way up to number three with the takedown of FunPlus Phoenix. I thought that was just a very strong win, and IG looked like in peak form. Like there was that one play, I believe it was game two, against when they were just sitting in the bush on we're on red side, like right where you're leaving the gate, pretty much on the top part of the map, and they just killed Doinby in his own base, and it was like 18 minutes into the game or something like that, and it was like, how are you supposed to play against this? Why are they there? But it was so funny, but it was sad for Doinby, but it was so funny. I'm like, man, but we're getting back to peak IG, and I'm really expecting IG now to make worlds where there were some question marks at the beginning of the year with just how much they were struggling and just how good the LPL is. You can't struggle for long because IG is still currently in fourth place standings wise, but they were sitting there out of the playoffs for like a week or two, or at very least they were in eighth place. Top, nothing against Top right now. They are still 7-1, still one of the best teams in the world. I could almost argue to you that China has four teams in like the top six in the world. Brian just joined and he said that has RNG hit their Uzi power spike? Yes. If you want to see, we'll just go back quickly just for you, Brian. Game number two against EDG. You have Uzi doing that. So they've hit their Uzi power spike. Yeah, we had a. This is, you could even argue that China may have four of the best five teams in the world. Probably more so for the top six, top seven at worst. But they're really like the top. It sucks that one of these teams is not making worlds no matter what. And I don't know which one it will be. And now with RNG performing this well, originally last week I said I would like RNG not to make it because I thought Top and IG would be better fits in Fun Plus Phoenix. But now I really don't know. They're just all four of them are so good, and I think that only the likes of like G2, maybe Damwon, like that is your top six teams in the world at the moment. I would say. I don't think there's any teams that can compete with those top six. But yes, we have Lining moving all the way back up to number five with EDG and Billy Billy both having pretty bad weeks. EDG with the 1-1, Billy Billy with the 0-1. But Lining all the way back up to number five, 8 weeks in, and they're still there. That's very promising for them. They're not falling off, which is what everyone's expecting still, which is good for them. Good for them. I'm actually happy for them. Sunning as well, number six. That I'm starting to slowly creep my confidence back in Sunning with the super team is looking a little bit better. There's still some question marks, but they're definitely not as bad as what they were in Spring Split where they missed the playoffs. I fully expect the Sunning team to make playoffs. We have EDG at number 7 and Billy Billy at number 8. They both dropped down, and now that I think about it, like those are that is probably the top 8 teams for sure. Like outside of those top 8, we start to see a lot more weaknesses on the teams, but like the top 8 in the LPL is super stacked, like super stacked. We have Team WE at number 9. They moved up a little bit with their victory over Dominus, but outside of that, they mostly moving up because Victory 5 is dropping. LGD also dropped and JDG actually moved up, even though they did lose to Dominus. They also beat Billy Billy, which was a pretty good win. It kind of negated both of them, so they just moved up while LGD had just a straight negative, so they went down. Dominus also lost to Team WE, which wasn't great, but they did beat JDG, which was pretty good for them. So I did end up moving them up 3 hold positions. That was mostly just because, or 2 hold positions. That was mostly because Rogue Warriors looked pretty bad, went 0-1, or did they go 0-2? Rogue Warriors lost everything though. Let's just double check. I think Rogue Warriors went 0. Yeah, they went 0-2 this week, and so they had the drop. And OMG losing to Vici Gaming has instantly put OMG down in the cellar. Getting blown out to Vici Gaming has put them down in the cellar from their original spot of 14th. So yeah, Vici Gaming moves up, OMG moves down. OMG, terrible, terrible week. Vici Gaming on a winning streak of 1, and that's where we like to see them. So next, let's go with our predictions for this week. Let's just pull them up here. It looks nicer. So let's just move this here, here, here. All right, week 8 predictions, and these are actually going to be live predictions because I did not make these predictions before the podcast because I was too busy. Basically, briefly, what happened is I was at 99 LP silver 1 in Teamfight Tactics. I got 5th, dropped. I'm like, okay, I can play one more game. This was at 10 o'clock. I'm like, I should do the podcast, but I could do one more. Got into the top. I got 6th place. I was at 65 HP or 55 HP in first place, and I lost two straight games with like 30 damage and 25 damage. Just instantly died. I had a very good team. I just happened to face 2 very stupid Volibear comps. So I rage played another game after that because I was like, I know I'm still 1 away from getting the gold, and then I was flaming Volibear comps, and then the game gave me 2 Volibears before people, and then it gave me 7 Volibears by Krugs, and then it gave me 9 Volibears by Wolves, and then I just kind of stacked the Volibear and won the game. So I felt a little guilty, but but I got the gold. I actually got the from silver 4 to gold 4 in 24 hours. So that was nice because I finally got to play this weekend. Pretty much from midnight last night to 11 p.m. today, I was just playing Teamfight Tactics with sleeping in between. But like that's it. And I'll probably be streaming that more this week on my road to plat, and then me and Brian are also going to do it. Anyway, prediction time. We have Top Esports versus Sunning. Unfortunately, even though Sunning is looking pretty solid right now, I do think Top Esports, they've still only lost to IG this entire split. So they are actually a half game out of first place. Like they've been flying a little bit under the radar, where like because everyone's been talking about Fun Plus Phoenix, RNG, and IG as well. IG with the struggles and stuff. But Top Esports wins this game, they'll be in a tie for first place until Fun Plus Phoenix start playing. So like I definitely think that Top Esports should be a team to be definitely you should definitely be threatened of. Facing, and I think they'll win 2-1. I do give Sunning 1 win. I think it's because Maple can protect himself enough against Knight, in a sense that Knight won't be able to carry. I think he'll lose graciously type situation, where most of the time with Top, it's Knight just carries with whatever he wants, and then they win the game. Next, RNG versus Victory 5. Victory 5 just got absolutely stomped by EDG. Then EDG, 2 days later, got stomped by RNG. RNG's on a roll right now. Like Brian said, RNG has hit their Uzi power spike. Uzi's going to be able to take this team to an easy 2-0 against Victory 5. Victory 5 is trying to hit a playoff spot, but I don't think match against RNG is going to help them in that sense. LGD versus Rogue Warriors. Let's see. How are they doing? LGD is 7. Okay. I think that LGD should win this game. I know they got Haru on Rogue Warriors, and that was supposed to help them a lot. It hasn't really helped them too much, in my opinion. They've only won 1 game. They've won 5 games, but they've only won 2 series, and those 2, in my opinion, were pretty big fluke series. And outside of that, they've only won 1 game. All the other times they've been swept on every other loss. I think there should be another sweep for LGD. BLG bounces back against Team WE. I'm still not sold on this team. They did beat Dominius Gaming, but what did they do before that? They are on a 2-game win streak with JDG and Dominius. However, I think JDG and Dominius are both spring split strong, not summer split strong, and I think Billy should be just fine. If not, they're in big trouble because not only does this put Team WE at 4-6, this puts Billy at 5-5, and nearly missing the playoffs at that point. And to nearly miss out the playoffs in back-to-back splits would be very, very painful. I think it'll be a 2-1 game though. Fun plus Phoenix versus OMG, as could not give me an easier prediction. I'd bet $5,000 Fun plus Phoenix wins this series easily. I would do that bet. Top Esports versus Li Ning. This is Li Ning's first. Well, let's see. Who is Li Ning face? Billy, Dominius, EDG. They lost EDG. They did beat IG. So this is their first real test, I will say, in a sense that IG was kind of a mess when they beat them. And let's see. Team to be. Yep. So it's their first real test between. They haven't faced Top. They haven't faced RNG. And they haven't faced Fun Plus Phoenix. So, and they faced IG at a good time, which, hey, you play them when you play them. That's what's important. But the IG was definitely at a low point in their season, or in their like the last 2 years, pretty much at the time. Will Plex? I just complimented Plex enough. But I don't know if he's going to be enough that he will be able to stop Knight like I think Maple can. I'm gonna give it to Top Esports. I think Li Ning's had a fantastic season so far. I don't think they'll be able to take down Top Esports though. And I'm looking down the list, and I don't think they're gonna. I'm gonna give that 2-0. I think Knight will be able to handle Plex very easily. Billy versus Vici Gaming. Billy. Vici Gaming's winning streak comes to an end after one. They will win one game against Billy like they usually always do, and then they'll lose game 3 because they don't know how to clutch out a game. JDG should be able to take down Victory 5 just fine. I believe in the Dumpling Brothers a lot more. Mole and Windy are just like they've been playing Mole and Windy every game, but I don't necessarily. I think the Dumpling Brothers should be able to handle that just fine. Mole and Windy have been the weak points of Victory 5. I think Y4 and Ben 4 have actually been pretty strong in my opinion, but actually Y4 has he been strong? I don't remember. I don't have the stats on me. I don't. Ben 4 has been good, but I don't know. Mole and Windy are so 50-50. They're very 50. They either have really good games or very, very bad games. And I think that Zoom and Yagao should be able to capitalize on that quite a bit. Though, Flawless going down the Ben 4 would be the way for Victory 5 to win this one, so I don't think it's going to be that free of a win. I just think they win through the solo lanes, but I do think Victory 5 wins through the jungle, so I will give Victory 5 at least one victory for that, where the jungle just snowballs the solo lanes to be able to handle that. But it would not surprise me at all that Victory 5 does win this series as well, because of that jungle difference. RNG versus LNG. Unfortunately for LNG, I gotta pick RNG again. The way they just dismantled EDG, I am really, really, really looking forward to them facing off against some of the top teams still this split. And I think that RNG is going to actually beat them 2-0 as well. So I think, unfortunately, I have Li Ning, who we just praised for staying in it for top 5. This is their true test. If they win these games, like, they are for real, for real. Unfortunately, I still don't fully believe. I believe enough that they'll make the playoffs. I don't believe it's their turn up. We had EDG step up to the plate to see if they are good enough against these top 4. Now I think it's up to LNG to show them that they've already have one victory over IG. If they can win against Top and Royal Never Give Up as well, all of a sudden Li Ning is a top 4, like one of these teams, and should be taken as a threat to go to Worlds for China, which is insane to say. I think that sounds so amazing and like so weird. EDG versus Fun Plus Phoenix. I think Fun Plus Phoenix handles this one. I think that they come back with a vengeance after losing the IG in a very close series. I think they take care of OMG. That's no big deal. They don't have to really plan too hard for that. That means most of their planning will go into EDG. Well, EDG gets all their planning as well into Fun Plus Phoenix. It's their only game this week. But I just think Fun Plus Phoenix is just simply better. I don't think like they're. EDG's win condition of Scout will not be able to happen with Doinby, and I just don't think iBoy will be able to stand up either in the bot lane. Dominius Gaming versus Rogue Warriors. Dominius, I'm still on the drug. TMO. Oh man, I'm still picking Dominions over Rogue Warriors. I think they're the better team than Rogue Warriors. It makes me so sad that they lost to Team WE because if they would have won that game, they would have 3 wins now, and they would be sitting at 11th place with another win here against Rogue Warriors would instantly put them at 4 wins, and they'd only be about a win or two away from the playoffs. I still think they can win this one. I don't think they can make playoffs. That should. LGD and OMG are pretty weak opponents. Ugh. Okay, then you get RNG. How do you end the season? V5s would win. So you got 2 losses automatically. So if you can, you have to win this game. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 wins left in the tank for Dominius. So that would put them at 6 on the year. Unfortunately, I don't think they're making playoffs. Yes, Dominius is Scion Dragon Brian. Uh, Fortunately, I do not think they're going to make playoffs this split. They'll probably finish 6-9, but I will pick them against Rogue Warriors, and I'm going to pick IG as well to round out against Team WE. Team WE should not be able to, barely able to beat Dominion, should not be able to handle IG. That should be a 2-0, and that should be a 2-0 as well. So that should be the yeah. That makes me sad. My miracle run for Dominius has now been crushed in my heart because I know there's no way they can take down Royal Never Give Up or Fun Plus Phoenix. But anyway, that is going to be the podcast. Thank you guys for coming to watch. We will be talking about NA tomorrow. It will be for sure me, Brian. You work Monday night. I just realized, so you probably won't be there. Ryan also won't be there. Maybe it'll just be me and Brock. Maybe Brock can show up for that one. So yeah, yep. So it's gonna be either me or me and Brock. So tune in tomorrow to find out if that's the case. We're gonna talk about CLG and how they're for real. I didn't think so, but they are for real. I didn't think they would be able to. I thought they were gonna crumble, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how Team Liquid's the best team in the league as well, and how C9 looking pretty strong, pretty weak. Unless you want to do it really. Nah, I don't want to do it that late. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow for NA, Tuesday for LCK, Wednesday for LMS, Thursday for LEC, and Friday for Wildcard. And thank you guys again, and we'll see you tomorrow.